What's going on, YouTube family? It's your boy Mike the Businessman with a new video. And guys, today I want to discuss accidents and how you guys should be prepared to handle them when they happen, because it's not a matter of if they're going to happen, it's a matter of when they're going to happen. So best be prepared, okay? So let's jump right into it, okay? So first off, you need to have a clear plan of action for when happens do occur, okay? So we need to be prepared in advance, okay? So I'd like to categorize this into, say, having minor accidents and then major accidents, okay? And minor accidents, I'll categorize as, you know, somebody scuffs your rims, scratches a car, minor scratches, things like that that aren't maybe impact related with another car or nobody getting hurt and nothing like that, right? Say, you know, they hand the keys over to valet and they scuff up the car or something like that. Those are more common things that would happen on a regular basis, okay? How do you respond to that, okay? You need to have a clear plan for how that works, okay? So perfect example, New Year's just went by. I had a bunch of cars go out. Guess what? 2 cars came back damaged, okay? Minor damages, minor scratches and stuff like that. So typically, you always want to be professional with the customer, okay? This is not a, oh, you're banned, you're blacklisted, never call me again. No. Instead, we're still thanking them for the rental. We're being polite. We're being nice to the customers. Things happen, okay? Especially in cases with valet, because 9 times out of 10, a lot of these things that scuffs up to the rims and all of that, it's the valet that does a lot of that stuff. Sometimes the renter isn't even aware that the vehicle got damaged, okay? So situations like that, we're not tripping, okay? When the car comes back, we perform a thorough inspection around the vehicle. When we notice that, we take detailed pictures, we send them over to the customer, okay? And we always, my personal policy is, you damage my car in any way whatsoever, you're losing your deposit, okay? It's not even up for negotiation, just because I factor in a lot of stuff, okay? I'm looking at the fact that it's not only the cost of materials and labor, but loss of use, okay? Because my car has to go to the shop, and that could take a week, 2 weeks. I'm losing income. I have to recover that. So we let customers know all of that stuff beforehand. It's in our rental agreement, so they're already pre-sensitized to this. So once this actually happens, okay, it's not a surprise. It's not the first time we're saying it to them, okay? It's also imperative that you try to perform your inspections as quickly as possible so you can get that across to the customer too. You send them, like, we'll send post-trip photos immediately, like, hey, look, you know, and that's another thing too, right? Once they bring the car back to you, you're taking pictures immediately of the vehicle, preferably even while the customer is there. I mean, we don't do inspections in front of the customer, but at least we try to capture all the pictures. And then that way, when we circle back later on, we perform a thorough inspection. That's when you start to notice a lot of these things. And then you can now bring it up with the customer, and they can't deny it because it's already in the pictures you sent them after the trip. And we send our customers pre-trip photos also. So now we can compare and contrast, like, hey, it was perfect when you got it. Our customers also sign a vehicle inspection form, so there's no way they can get out of it, right? So once they've seen the post-trip photos, they see that there's damage on it. That's pretty much our process. So now we'll reach out to them, we'll call and let them know, like, hey, we noticed some damage on the vehicle. Mind telling us what exactly happened? 9 times out of 10, they'll deny it. Oh no, it never happened, blah, 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 blah. Then you send them a picture of the damage with them standing by the car, and then they admit it. And so then we handle, if it's something that I know isn't going to cost up to the deposit amount, I won't file on their insurance. I would just take their entire deposit and call it a day. However, if I know it's something that's in the thousands, of couple of maybe $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 range, and I know it's going to require my car staying in the shop more than maybe a day or two, I'm filing insurance, just because, especially in my case where I have exotics or high luxury cars, that's a lot of lost income for me. I'm not going to deal with that. You know, $1,000 deposit is not enough to cover my loss of use. So I have to go ahead and file that claim with the insurance company. I have a whole process around that to where I don't deal with my claims. I pass them on. Like these 2 claims that literally I just found out about like 30 minutes ago. I've already contacted the guy that handles all my claims. And people in my academy have access to him. So don't DM me if you're not in the academy asking me for my claims plug. But yeah, so I just send him over a file. He just pretty much needs a rental agreement, insurance card, detailed pictures, and he handles the rest. I just need to wait a few weeks and I get my check. He gets me a fat check too. So that's pretty much the way we handle minor incidents like that, right? All right, gang. So I just wanted to show you guys like some of the cars that just came back, and just like some damage that could happen to anybody. This is just minor damage, but still nonetheless it came back with some damage. Might be a little hard to see, but there's a scratch that right across there on a wrap, and then on the rear of the car too, also this rear panel too, also got a scratch across it, you know, and then the rims got scuffed up real bad. So apparently the renter gave the car to Valet, and they did all of that. Unfortunately, we don't have the wrap for this car anymore, so now we got to go buy another roll of wrap just to get that fixed. And then on the Lambo, this guy just came back too. Funny enough, both of them went out. Both of them came back with some damage. So on the Lambo, apparently, I don't know, homeboy had girls fighting over him or something, or fighting to get into the passenger side of the car, and they ripped that off. So those are the types of things that happen, you know, and unfortunately, you know, somebody's got to pay for it, because now we got to get this over to Lamborghini. It's going to take a while to fix. And then unfortunately too, we've got to rewrap that piece. Once again, this is a liquid wrap, and so that's a very expensive wrap. And so now once again we have to buy the material to liquid wrap it back. So those are the reasons why we have to keep the security deposit and possibly file under insurance. It's not as easy as a $100 or $200 fix or whatever. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to show you guys some of those types of things that could potentially happen, and what you guys should look out for. So pretty much, it's very important though that when these happen though, like you promptly take pictures and you notify the customer, right? And then it's also imperative that you try to minimize the downtime. Okay, and what do I mean by that, right? Like if you know insurance is gonna take a month, 2 months to pay this claim, you need to be financially liquid enough to go ahead and fix that car on your own, get that car back on the road, and let it keep making money for you. Don't let your car sit forever unless the car is a total loss or something like that. But if you have some kind of minor damage, or you know, something that maybe a few thousands of dollars could fix on your own, go ahead and fix that car, get that baby back on the road, earning your income. And then while you wait for the claims process to take place, you don't want to disrupt your business just because of an accident or whatever. Okay, so find a way to circumvent that. Find a way to get that car back on the road as soon as possible. Okay, and so typically in cases like this, right, so where there's a minor accident, like a minor scratch or something that occurred to the car, right, if it's not the renter's fault, it may be if somebody else scratched them or something like that, it's the responsibility of the renter to get that person's insurance company, and that way we can go ahead and file that claim on the other person's insurance. Okay, it's not our job to go find that person for them and go chase that claim down. No, especially if you're doing private rentals, it's not our job to do that. It's the responsibility of the customer to make sure at the scene of the accident, when that happens, that they do that. Okay, but then most times when these things happen, it's either the renter is opening up a door and hitting a wall, or they're driving recklessly and they scratch something. Then situations like that, it's clearly their fault. They need to pay for it, so it comes out, we keep their security deposit, and then we go ahead and file on their insurance. Now, situations also arise where at Valet, like I mentioned earlier, these guys are reckless. They drive crazy with these cars, and they damage a lot of our vehicles. Now, when Valet damages the car, it's also not our responsibility to go to the Valet company, go look for video footage and all of that stuff to file a claim with the Valet company. That's not my problem. That's the renter's problem. I'm not the one that asked them to go to that hotel or that club and go valet the car. They need to deal with that on their own time and get reimbursed. In the meantime, they need to pay me back for my car. So that's my policy. Pretty much the way I look at it is, when I handed you this car, it was in perfect condition. When you bring it back to me, it needs to be in perfect condition. Otherwise, you got to pay, or I got to file it on your insurance or whatever. So that's pretty much my policy. And also, guys, there's another thing too, right? Like, you don't want to get into a tit for tat with the customers, like, because some of them might want to micromanage the process, right? That's why I have a strict policy that I keep the entirety of your security deposit. We're not discussing it, because now when you start to tell them, no, I have to go, let me go to my mechanic, go get a price quote on what it's going to cost to fix it. Now the renter starts to feel like, oh yeah, you need their approval for anything. Like, so now they want you to run everything by them before you do anything, before you even repair a tire. They want to know where you went to, how much it costs, and they want you to send receipts. They start micromanaging the process. No, I don't have time for that. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to their buddy's car shop, repair shop that they think they could get it cheaper at. No, I go to wherever I want to. I'm not going to give you any receipts. That's why I have a strict policy. I keep the entirety of the security deposit. You go your way, I go mine. Or if I have to file on their insurance, I'm filing straight to their insurance policy. And that's between me and insurance at that point, not them. So there's no transparency in the process with us, okay? We're not here, I'm not going to let them micromanage the transaction. So you guys, I suggest you don't do that either, because trust me, it's going to get very frustrating, and you don't want those problems. Now, for little accidents like that, to get compensated, there's a few ways you could do it, right? So for me, typically, if I'm going through insurance, I pass this on to my guy. He handles all of that for me and make sure I get a bag. However, if you're dealing with it on your own, say it's a minor damage that maybe the security deposit can cover, what you want to do is first off you could try to go to all these car junkyards, right? You can go to junkyards where you can actually get these parts for pennies on the dollar. Okay, so always explore that option first before you guys run to the dealership to go get a part. Like, you'd be surprised what you can go get at these junkyards. You can get the doors, you can get panels, all of that from these junkyards and just replace it for pennies on the dollar, literally. And I've done that for cars, even like my luxury cars. We do that all the time. So that's a way you can save money, okay? That way you don't have to, because if I'm keeping a security deposit, I want to try to make some money on the deal also. So I'm going to try to get the parts as cheap as possible, and that way I can make some money for myself, once again, to compensate me for the loss of use, and also the hours of our time that we have to take to go fix this car. So that's something very important that you guys should be mindful of also, okay? Now, in the event that you guys are actually going to file a claim with the insurance company, right? So what you want to do is, first off, take the car to your franchise dealership to go get an estimate, okay? So if you have a BMW, go take it to a BMW dealership, go get an estimate on fixing the scratch or whatever it is that happened to the car. And then once you have that estimate, that's what you send to the insurance companies, okay? And the insurance company will reimburse you based on that quotation, because the franchise dealer is going to give you a detailed estimate, okay? Because these insurance companies want to know the parts and the part numbers. They want to know the labor hours involved for fixing this car. So there's a bunch of things they want to see. There's certain codes that they have on the estimate sheet that they want to see, that the adjuster wants to see on there, okay? You just can't go to your mom and pop body shop next door and just submit a plain invoice, okay? They're gonna ask you too many questions. They're gonna challenge it. So you always want to go to a franchise dealer, get that invoice, and then send that to the insurance, and then that's what they're going to pay you based off of. Now, once you've gotten that check in your hand, what you do with that check now is your problem. That's it. You know, you could take that check now and take it to your guy, your mom and pop guy next door, that you're sure can also do the work too. Then you can go get him to do it for half the price or whatever, and then that's how you could profit on it, okay? So that's one way. It's one way to make some money in this game, okay? From the insurance claims. So that's a good strategy you guys should adopt. Now, the next category of accidents will be your major accidents, right? Where there's a major collision, your car suffered extensive damage, possibly there's even bodily injury involved, right? So in situations like that, once again, right, empathy needs to come into play, right? Somebody could have potentially gotten hurt. So once you get that call, it doesn't matter what time of the day it is, and the renter tells you that, hey, I just got into an accident. The first things first is loss of life. We need to make sure nobody got hurt, nobody got injured. So you actually need to express some genuine care for the renter. Make sure they're doing okay, right? Make sure nobody's shook up, all of that. Once you're sure of that, if they need to call 911, call an ambulance or whatever, that's what we need to be worried about first, right? Getting those people safe and healthy. That's number one priority. Now, if nobody got injured, now we could typically you could either have like a card in your glove box, right, to kind of give them some steps to take if they were to get hit in an accident, right? Because first things first, they need to call 911. They got to call police, because the police needs to come to the scene, and then they need to document, they need to write a report on what actually happened. The police would also be the ones to collect insurance information from both parties and contact information from both parties. That's very important. Insurance is going to need that to establish a timeline and establish who's actually at fault in that incident, okay? You don't have a police report, it becomes a whole lot harder to get the insurance to pay for it, okay? So you want to have make sure that they call police first. They need that exchange of information needs to happen. Okay, so if another party's fault that hit your renter, you need that other party's information. You need their insurance card. That way you can go after that insurance company. Okay, so they need to get you as much information that you could use as possible, right? So you need to make sure you're advising them to get the other party's information. They should take pictures of the car, so they need to document the damage. Okay, while they're there on the scene. Okay, they should document the damage, document where it happened, all of that as much as possible while it's still vivid in their minds. If they can, they should text you or write out like a description of exactly what happened. Okay, so that way you know. And a lot of that's going to be in the police report. Only problem is police reports sometimes take almost a week or two to come out depending on what county you're in. So just have them kind of document an account of what happened, get pictures, get the other party's information. Once they have all of that, then that's fine. So once again, the renter you need to treat with care, with empathy. They just went through a traumatizing situation. The worry should not be about your car, okay? Instead, whether they're okay, you treat them once again as customers, okay? You're not here, you're not getting angry at them, you're not banning them, none of that stuff. We're not doing any of that, okay? Now, so what you want to do is pretty much you want to once they've gotten all that information, that's really it. The renter is free to go on their way. Now, if the car is on the side of the road, arrangements need to be made to pick up the car. Okay, so either if you have a tow truck at your disposal, you can send a tow truck out to the renter to pick up that car. And if you have a backup car, offer a backup car to the renter, okay? Because a rental is probably not over. Now, the only time where I might not do that is if I know that renter is the one that caused the accident and they seem like they're high risk, and yeah, you need to Uber yourself back to a hotel. However, if it was just an accident that happened, then yeah, you could send out another car to that renter, and then that way they can continue their rental, wrap it up, you don't want to just leave them stranded. So the customer service doesn't end at that point once the accident happens. We're seeing this through to the end of the transaction, okay? So that's very important, guys. You make sure you do it. Now, you see, we still recoup those expenses, all right? Because if we're filing a claim, we're still going to get reimbursed for all of that stuff. So still give your full customer service, to the end. Don't stop because they just got in an accident, all right? And then that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it as far as what all you have to do at that moment, then and there. You don't need to get up and rush out to the scene of the accident, all of that. No, if you have a team, if you have a tow truck on speed dial, you can have them go out there, go pick up the car and go send it either to your warehouse or send it to the closest dealership. And then in the next day, you can go out there and go assess the damage and then, talk to the dealership about fixing your car. So that's some few things that you guys need to be mindful of, how to deal with accidents. I kind of just wanted to talk about that. Now, another thing too is if you guys were renting your car on one of these car sharing platforms like Turo, Hire Car, Get Around, right? So if the accident was actually your renter's fault, then that's a very simple process. That platform, Turo or whatever, they're going to pay for your vehicle, okay? So you don't have anything to worry about. Now, in situations where it's the other party that damaged your vehicle, somebody else driving a car hits your renter, then in that case, your renter once again needs to make sure they're getting that other party's insurance, and then you have to file on that other party's insurance, okay? Because Turo is not going to do that for you, okay? You don't want to accept whatever Turo offers you also, because Turo is going to lowball you. Instead, you go after the other insurance company and then you make a bigger bag. So that's the strategy typically, okay? And so that's it, guys. I kind of wanted to discuss this video because it's not a matter, like I said, it's not a matter of if, it's when it's going to happen to you guys. So I want you guys to be prepared. If possible, in your glove boxes, have a little card that kind of explains to customers what numbers to call, what to do if they were to get into an accident. Explain that to them beforehand, before the trip happens, so they're prepared when it does happen. And also so that they're not scared of calling you if there's an accident, okay? They shouldn't hide it from you. So just have these processes in place. That way, when something happens, there's no disruption to your business. And also, you don't suffer when it comes to customer service with your clientele because you don't know how to act and you overreact. Okay, that's the worst thing you could do, when you now overreact and get angry at that renter. There's nothing worse than, I had a renter keep my car for months. And at the end of it, they damaged my car, but I didn't care. They paid me good money for months, okay? I was still polite. I offered to put them in another car, and I still billed them for the damage, and they paid for it. So that's the way we're meant to happen. We're meant to handle these situations, okay? Once again, it goes back to the emotional intelligence that we're meant to have, right? Don't get too emotional with these vehicles, okay? Don't get emotionally attached to them, because things will happen, okay? So I hope this was helpful. I want to hear your comments. Let me know, guys, if there's any extra steps that you guys maybe take when you have accidents. Is there anything I missed? Or if there's anything else, any other video ideas that you guys want to hear me talk about, please put them in the comments. Let's create some engagement. And I thank you guys very much for tapping in. Don't forget to like, subscribe the video, and make sure you turn on the notifications. So next time I drop a video, you guys will be informed. It's 2023, y'all. I want to wish you guys a happy New Year's, and I'm going to see you guys on the next one.